The Blue Angels represent the best of the Navy.
Glenn.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. This movie is phenomenal. First of all, I've loved the Blue Angels ever since I was a little kid. My dad was a Marine and he worked in the aerospace industry after that. So I've always wanted to see the Blue Angels, and this gives you a real bird's eye view, if you will, about seeing them up close and personal. What inspired you to tell this story?
You know, I'm just like you in the fact that when I was a kid, you know, my grandfather was a flight surgeon, and you know, I have pilots in my family and come from a military family. And you know, I remember when my grandfather brought, you know, my aunts and all my cousins, we all went to see a Blue Angel show when I was a kid. And I just remember looking up and just having my mind blown, you know, by what was happening. I'm sure you felt the same way, where you just can't believe any of this is possible. The physics don't even make sense. And looking, you know, at my cousins, we're all kind of like, wow, this is insane. And then, you know, and then you look at the adults, and the adults are looking at the sky with that same sort of awe and reverence, and it's just an amazing thing to be around. And then the fact that these Blue Angels landed on the ground and they signed autographs for everyone, and they took pictures with everyone. They were so kind and they were so thoughtful. They were smart. It always, to me, felt very inspirational and very aspirational to be around people that were pushing the boundaries of what people think is possible, but also doing it with kindness in their heart and a smile on their face. They just sort of represented the best of the Navy and the best of America, and I just thought that was such an extraordinary thing to be around. So I had a Blue Angels poster in my bedroom wall, literally until I left for college. It was up there, and you know, I think it's an important thing for anyone in life to look up to the right things to aspire to be, and that's what the Blue Angels are for me. And that's why I'm honored to kind of be a part of this documentary, is to feel like I'm putting the right heroes, you know, in front of the camera, you know, in front of audiences, and hopefully celebrated.
Now, one of the things I loved most about Top Gun Maverick was the camaraderie that was built amongst the team. And we really get to see this like in person with the Blue Angels.
Yes.
What surprised you the most about their dynamic? And you also get to take us into picking the next couple of Blue Angels as well. Can you talk about that process as well?
I think what was so impressive, and it's like being around people that are obviously doing these extraordinary things, things that don't feel physically impossible. They feel physically impossible. You even just see the amount of G's they're enduring, the precision, you know, they're flying 18 inches apart, you know, it's so dangerous. It requires a level of focus, require a level of skill that it's so impressive. But then they get on the ground. You watch them in a show. Like I remember flying with them, you know, and I'm in the foreplane. I'm in the center of the hive, and I'm watching all this go down, and the show just feels perfect. Everything about it, I was just like in awe. And then they get on the ground and they debrief, and they went through every single mistake they made, everything that could be better, you know, how they improve, you know, and that's what I believe marks a good team. It's like a great sports team. There is no finish line. You know, the pursuit of perfection is relentless, and it's endless, and that's a very inspiring and very cool thing to be around. And that's what defines the Blues, is these are the best of the best, and yet they're never done.
You know, one of the things that I loved too, and it actually got me a little emotional, was seeing Captain Kesselring's kind of like final run with the team. Can you talk about your approach with the story as well, the narrative part of this documentary?
I mean, that part gets me emotional too, because he's obviously, you can just see he's just a great American. You know, he's just a great guy. He's a great family man. He's a great father, but he's also a legendary Blues, and just represents what I think is, you know, again, the best of the Navy and the best of America. And he cares about this group of people so much. And that's what, to me, like really defines the Blue Angels, is when you walk through the halls in Pensacola. As soon as you land in Pensacola, you see it's like welcome to the home of the Blue Angels. You see Blue Angels stuff everywhere. You know, the restaurants, the bars, it's all in reverence of this group of people. And really, you can tell they just like are inspired, you know, by this group. Like the whole town is defined by them. And walking through the halls of the base, you really get a sense of the legacy. You know, and I think that's one thing we really capture in this documentary, is the legacy of the Blue Angels. You know, how dangerous this is, how many people have passed away in Blue Angel jets over the course of time. But not only that, but just the importance of this job and what it means to the world and what it means to these individuals. And so to be the boss of the Blue Angels is such a privileged position, and you can just really tell as he's passing that baton to another person, another boss. You know, we all have sort of our moment in the sun, you know, a moment where we get to do something extraordinary. You don't know how long it lasts, and to have him kind of pass along that baton it's an emotional thing, because he knows that magic, that Blue Angels magic, sort of that run is over for him for now, but somebody else is gonna go on a different ride. And it's I totally agree. For me, it's a really beautiful human moment.
It absolutely is. Now, last week I spoke with Jerry Bruckheimer and producer Chad Oman for another film, and they said that for Top Gun, the third one, they have a story that they really like. But are there any elements from the Blue Angel pilots that you got to meet in person that you would like to take with you to Hangman?
You know, I think that's a great question. Look, Jerry and Chad and Joe and Tom, and there are a lot of very, very smart brains on this thing that really do not need my brain involved at all. They're going to put a wonderful story together. But I will say that after making Top Gun, making Devotion, you know, you really feel a sense of community in this Navy. And you know, when I get texts, you know, I look at my texts in the morning, you know, the fact that a lot of them are call signs is very cool. And, you know, the fact that I still call these pilots my friends is really wonderful. So I will say, when we made, you know, Top Gun Maverick, you know, that was a new, shiny world for me. And now I feel that it's still filled with brilliance. It's still shiny to me, but it's also a group of people I call my family. And so I can kind of go into this movie in a different way. So maybe just the fact that, you know, maybe it feels a little bit more lived in, a little more comfortable for all of us I think it will be really wonderful.
You know, I'm so happy this is on IMAX because the shots are absolutely stunning. Can you talk about the technical aspects of shooting high-speed aerial maneuvers like this?
Well, I think one of the cool parts, and this is straight from the brain of Kevin LaRosa and Evan Fitzmaurice, you know, at Cinejet, and they were the aerial team behind Top Gun Maverick, and obviously all those sequences are mind-blowing, but they really, you know, came up with this concept of shooting Blue Angels in 1,000 frames a second. So these maneuvers that you're seeing, you know, at 400 miles an hour plus, and the proximity of these jets and how close they're flying, when you see them in these really, really, you know, super slow-mo, you get a sense of, you can almost see how they're moving air around these planes. You know, you see the vapes coming off the wings, and you get a sense of the G's, and that's one thing that, it's when you put all these like amazing brains around this project, it really raises the bar across the board. And I think that's one thing that I'm so proud of in this doc, is that, you know, all the technology has sort of evolved to a point where this documentary is now possible for the first time. And so giving audiences that ride, it wouldn't have been possible a few years ago, but it's possible now. So this really is, in terms of access, this documentary is unprecedented, but in terms of the ride that audiences are go on, it's never before seen.
Yeah, after watching it, I felt like I was a part of the Blue Angels team with the training and you know, all the stuff that goes along with it. Glenn, thank you so much for your time. The film is fantastic.
Thank you.
I can't say enough great things about it. It's incredible.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
To make 6 jets fly as one, that's the Blue Angel magic.